What's going on, everybody? I'm Will Ortner, the host of Seahawks Today. That is what you are tuned into. And we have a major injury news for the Rams that is going to affect the Thursday night football matchup between the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, which, as we all know, is the most important game of the season. Not just because it's the next game on the Seahawks schedule, but this is the chance for the Seahawks to get that number one seed in the NFC. Not the NFC West, not just the NFC West, but the NFC conference as a whole. We're going to dive into what those injury issues are and how the Seahawks can take advantage of them. But first, I do have to let you know, we're getting pretty darn close to Dolphins today. Right now, you can see we're closing in. We're closing in. When I started the channel here, or took over the channel, I should say, Seahawks was well behind our Dolphins channel. We are now rapidly approaching a position where we could take over them. Not only be the first channel between Dolphins and Seahawks getting to that 80K mark, but more importantly, passing Dolphins and continuing to grow the brand that is the Seahawks. Help us out by coming on in and subscribing to the channel. Now, let's dive into those key Rams injuries. Davante Adams and Puka Nacua both sustained injuries in last week's game against the Detroit Lions. It would be huge for the Rams if they were unable to have both. One seems a little bit worse than the others, and we're going to start with that player, and that player, of course, is Davante Adams. Sean McVay had this to say on Davante Adams' injury. So, we'll see what that means. I can't imagine that's good for Thursday with just a short amount of time, but I certainly wouldn't rule him out quite yet, but it didn't look good. That's Sean McVay talking about the hamstring injury that Davante Adams suffered. Now, I've watched the play. He is running. It seems like he re-aggravates an old hamstring injury that has been kind of hampering Adams, and he is an older player, so these types of things do seem to come up and become a bigger issue. Now, Davante Adams wasn't a big performer against the Seahawks, but he did end up having one catch, and that did lead to a touchdown. Davante Adams, I wouldn't say that he's hit the fountain of youth in LA, but he's certainly being a great Robin right now to the Batman that is Puka Nacua. He's going to be right around that 1,000 yards receiving for the year if he's able to play the final 3 games. But really the big number is the touchdown number because Davante Adams has been a gigantic piece for this Rams offense in the red zone. We saw it against the Seahawks. Reek Woolen shut him down for every play but one, and that was that 1-yard touchdown route. Now, Matt Stafford had this to say on what it would be like to lose his best red zone wide receiving target and how he feels for him. I don't know the extent of it. It didn't look like it was a good one, so I feel tough for him. He's been a warrior for us all year, really, to be honest with you, playing out there for us, so we'll see. I got a lot of faith and trust in other guys that we have in our locker room and our coaching staff to put us in a great position to go out there. Let our play do the talking and just go play. Doesn't seem too good right now for Davante Adams to be active against the Seahawks, but what say you? I got to ask you guys. We've all seen this before where a player, hey, he might play, he might not play, and then ends up finding a way to get out on the field. Will Davante Adams play on Thursday night? Let me know down below in the comments. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Now, we're going to dive back into the other injury, and that, of course, was Puka Nacua. Obviously, he's basically been the second best receiver in the NFC West this whole year. I guess you could say that. I mean, he's clearly not number one. We have number one on our squad. Now, Nacua did have to leave sometime. He does have some injury issues. Left in the game on Sunday. He did come back. His kind of claim was that it was a little bit of cramping. So I would expect that Puka Nacua is going to be able to go against the Seahawks this week, even though it is a pretty quick turnaround for both teams. Now I'm going to dive into how the Seahawks can take advantage of the potential injuries over at that wide receiver position. But first, I got to let you know about our good friends over at Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It is the holiday season, the best time of year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, it is all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. Prize Picks. New feature alert. PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose Flex Play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. I have a 3-pick Power Play for this weekend's action. JSN, more. Leonard Williams, more. Matthew Stafford, less. JSN, that's receiving yards, more. Leonard Williams, more on sacks. Matthew Stafford, less on his pass plus rush yards. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. So, how is Seattle going to change their game plan when it comes to stopping this Rams offense? Now, remember, the Rams started off that game very well in that first matchup, but then after the first quarter, the offense for the Rams really struggled, and Sam Darnold didn't have so many turnovers. I don't know that the Rams would have been able to score more than 10 points in this one. So what can the Seahawks do and really focus in on now that Adams is probably going to be out and potentially Nacua will be a bit limited? First, you need to figure out how to stop the run. The Rams, believe it or not, I know Sean McVay, he's a pretty boy. They do like to run the football because it sets up everything else that they do. Kyren Williams has been fantastic this year. When you look at his stat line, he's already over 1,000 yards, probably going to be around a 12,000-yard rusher. He knows how to get into the end zone, and he runs for a high average. Some of that is Kyren Williams. Some of that is also what Sean McVay is able to do. The Seahawks cannot allow him to get going. He got going early against Seattle. Now, they were able to stop him as that game got going later on, but it is important to mention that early on, it definitely looked like it was going to be a Kyren Williams game. Load up the box. Make sure you find a way to slow him down. Don't let him get going in this one. Huge for the Seahawks because it forces the Rams to throw. By the way, help us out. Subscribe to the channel. Daily Seattle Seahawks content coming out you do not want to miss. Next, pressure the quarterback. The last time that the Seahawks played the Rams, as good as these two defenses are, there wasn't enough pressuring of the quarterbacks from either squad, but mainly from the Seattle Seahawks. Remember, we did not get a single sack in that game against the Rams. Matthew Stafford was able to stand in the pocket. Was he comfortable? No, he certainly wasn't comfortable. And Uchenna Nwosu did a great job of batting down a lot of balls in that matchup. But what I do think is important to note is that you need to get Matthew Stafford on the ground. If you can be physical with him, you can be strong with him, he's going to turn the football over and make mistakes. We saw the Carolina Panthers do this against the Rams, and it led to them getting a victory. Seattle has to do the same thing, and you've got better horses to do it. There's a reason why I put DeMarcus Lawrence on this list 3. It's because he's got to be the trend setter, the tone setter. He can do it. He's an absolute animal. Best free agent signing that we had in the offseason. My last defensive key that we need to talk about. You got to stop Puka Nacua. He's going to play in this game. Let's just be honest. He's going to play in this game. So let's double him. Let's find a way to commit 2 to him. I don't care if it means Devin Witherspoon. You are locked in on Puka all night long with Julian Love over the top or Kobe Bryant over the top. Maybe if he's in the slot, he's getting hit off the line of scrimmage by the outside linebacker, Uchenna Nwosu, or he's getting hit off the line of scrimmage. Ernest Jones is floating in to the middle of the field if they want Puka Nacua running over across the middle. Whatever you have to do, do not let him cook. He cannot get free in this one. He's really the only wide receiver that scares me in LA. Yeah, Matt Stafford can go and find other targets, but if Puka Nacua gets going, he's a special type of player. He's the second best wide receiver in the NFL for a reason. Not the first, though, because we got that guy at home. I'll tell you right now, whatever the Seahawks do, find a way to stop Nacua. If you can stop Puka Nacua, I think we're going to be pretty happy on Thursday night. Be extra physical with him, too. Nothing cheap, but extra physical with him. He doesn't like to get hit. How are we feeling right now? Are we nervous about this Seahawks versus Rams game on Thursday night. I'm already starting to feel it a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely a little uncomfortable, but it's a good type of uncomfortable because I know that by Thursday night, I'm going to be pretty darn excited to see what the Seahawks do against the Rams. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We always really appreciate it. I can't wait to see you guys next time.